with arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, living comedian, Chris Rock. Chris got slapped in the face at the Oscars by Will Smith, which was one of the craziest things I did.
Hollywood's secrets don't stay buried forever, and two of comedy's sharpest voices just ripped the lid off. Jim Carrey and Dave Chappelle didn't plan this. Independently, they started dropping the same jaw-dropping truths about Will Smith. And the timing? Impeccable. This isn't just about the slap anymore. It's about what happens when two stars who walked away from Hollywood's machine finally speak up. What they're saying about Will Smith. Far more explosive than anyone expected. But first, let's set the scene. These aren't random celebs tossing shade. Jim Carrey? He walked away from a $20 million paycheck because he refused to compromise.
For years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms, I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. Secret symbol of the Illuminati.
Dave Chappelle literally fled to Africa, leaving behind a $50 million Comedy Central deal after seeing how corrupt the system could get.
I wasn't walking away from the money. I was walking away from the circumstances with the newfound plateau.
When these two talk about Hollywood's mess, they speak from experience. And what they're saying about Will Smith, mind-blowing. Let's rewind to the moment that shook the world. March 27, 2022, the 94th Academy Awards. Will Smith was Hollywood's golden boy, best actor for King Richard, at the peak of his $9 billion box office reign. Everything was scripted for triumph, until Chris Rock made that joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head, comparing her to G.I. Jane. We all know what happened next. Will walked on stage, slapped Chris Rock in front of 15 million viewers, and shouted, "My wife's name out your screaming mouth. I'm going to..." Okay. The audience froze. Some thought it was staged. Others couldn't believe it. But here's the kicker. Less than an hour later, Will won Best Actor and received a standing ovation. By what God is calling on me to do and be in this world. That ovation, pure shock. Hollywood just watched a physical assault on live TV and cheered. That's when Jim and Dave realized they couldn't stay silent. They'd seen this hypocrisy before, and they weren't letting the industry protect one of its own. Jim Carrey's brutal critique. Just 3 days later, on CBS Mornings, he tore into the system.
Carrey weighing in on Will Smith's Oscar controversy during a new interview with Gayle King for CBS Mornings.
Jim went for the jugular. Will, Hollywood, the whole machine. He said the ovation made him sick, called Hollywood spineless, and declared it unworthy of its cool club badge. Coming from someone inside the machine for 40-plus years, that's fire. He didn't stop there. If he were Chris Rock, he said he'd sue Will for $200 million. The slap wasn't just a punch. It was an attack on free speech, on comedy, on the idea that words and violence aren't interchangeable. No exceptions, not even for Will Smith. Then Jim got philosophical. He spent years exploring his spiritual awakening, realizing the celebrity persona isn't the real person. Back in 2017, he admitted the wacky character everyone adored wasn't him. It was a performance he outgrew. Seeing Will at the Oscars, Jim saw the same trap. A man trapped in the image he built over 30 years. The family man, the protector, the beloved star. Chris Rock's joke didn't offend Will the person. It threatened Will the avatar. And when that avatar was attacked, he lashed out. Survival mode. That insight hits hard from Jim Carrey, a man who nearly lost himself to fame and had to leave Hollywood to reclaim authenticity. Enter Dave Chappelle. If Jim is philosophy, Dave is raw reality. Dave ran from Hollywood's grip. In 2005, at the height of Chappelle's show with a $50 million contract, he vanished to South Africa. Why? He saw the corruption and refused to play along. When he returned, his comedy was sharper, fearless, unfiltered. When Will's Oscar meltdown happened, the world waited for Dave's take. Weeks later, in Liverpool, an audience member asked. Dave's answer? Characteristically blunt. Will's slap wasn't just about Chris Rock. It exposed something deeper. First of all, do you know, like that in that joke that Chris did? I remember when that movie came out. He made the point most missed. Hollywood created Will Smith, and now it's reaping the consequences. Frankenstein's monster. You can't mold, profit from, and market a manufactured image for decades, and then act shocked when it snaps. Will wasn't just talented, he was constructed. Constant performance, constant inauthenticity. Eventually, it breaks you. The Golden Globes bomb. January 10, 2023. Eddie Murphy accepts the Cecil B. Deal Award. First big award stage in years. Eddie hates these shows, they feel fake. But he commands attention. Brief, funny, grateful. Then delivers a line that made headlines. Pay your taxes, mind your business, and keep Will Smith's wife's name out your mouth. Will Smith's wife's name out your mouth. Audience laughs nervously. Eddie smiles. Message, crystal clear. Will Smith messed up, and even Hollywood royalty like Eddie publicly called him out. But here's the kicker. Days after Eddie's jab, Dave was performing in San Francisco and broke down what Eddie really meant. Dave told the crowd Eddie's line wasn't just a joke. It was wisdom in disguise. Pay your taxes equals handle responsibilities. Mind your business equals stay out of drama. Keep Will Smith's wife's name out your mouth? Obvious. Dave's spin. Stop performing, start living authentically. Will defended Jada because his public identity was built around being her protector. Had he been authentic, maybe he'd have laughed, maybe addressed it privately, but not with violence. Dave drew the parallel to himself. Comedy Central wanted him as a product, a version of himself that sold DVDs. He refused. They attacked him, labeled him crazy, spread rumors. Will kept performing. The fallout was inevitable. Jim and Dave's understanding aligns perfectly. Rarely collaborate, rarely photograph together, but after the Oscars, their commentary synced. Hollywood rewards performance over authenticity. Late 2022 podcast. Jim said Hollywood creates monsters by rewarding image over real self. Dave, in Netflix promo interviews, the industry wants a product, not a person. Perform too long, you forget yourself. Both diagnosed the same disease. Will Smith had been manufactured, and when vulnerability collided with perfection,
better than anyone. Yeah. And Chris is a genius comic that has been doing it for many, many decades.
The product malfunctioned violently. The Avatar theory deepens. Jada Pinkett Smith revealed in her 2023 memoir that they'd been separated since 2016. Let that sink in. When Will slapped Chris Rock in 2022, they weren't a traditional couple for 6 years. The Red Table Talk with August Alsina? During their separation, the Oscars, Will was defending the image of being her husband, not reality. The Avatar had overtaken life. Dave called it the saddest part. Will lied to everyone, including himself, for years. Extreme method acting, so committed to the devoted husband role, he assaulted someone to maintain the illusion. Hollywood's selective accountability? Jim and Dave hammer it. Minor actors? Cancelled instantly. A-listers? Protected. Jim on CBS.
You do not have the right to walk up on stage and smack somebody in the face because they said words.
Unknown actor slaps someone on live TV? Career over. Will? Assault in front of 15 million viewers. Blockbuster continues. Difference? $9 billion in box office equals protection. Hollywood spins, manages, shields. Dave lived this double standard. Walked from $50 million for integrity, got rumors, shaming. Will? Assault, 10-year Academy ban, a few headlines. Jim and Dave call it out, they know Hollywood protects stars, and they're not staying quiet. The standing ovation? Still the clearest proof.
And the Oscar goes to
Will Smith!
Hollywood showed its true colors. Not integrity, not accountability. Profit rules everything. Jim called it sickening, morally bankrupt. Dave said it reminded him exactly why he left. The industry doesn't care about principles, only dollars. That standing ovation? Not for Will the man, it was for the investment Hollywood made in him. Billions in profit, consequences optional. Crisis management, mandatory. Chris Rock himself waited almost a year to respond. On Oscar night 2022, Will Smith music slapped Chris Rock. In his Netflix special Selective Outrage, Chris unpacked it. The slap wasn't about the joke. It was personal baggage, misdirected anger, the fallout of performing so long that real emotion couldn't process. No victim card, no sympathy play, he took the hit and moved on. Key takeaway? Words is not equal to violence. Cross that line, free expression collapses. The scandal hit another peak in early 2025. A violinist who toured with Will filed a lawsuit claiming sexual harassment, retaliation, and wrongful termination.
Violinist is suing Will Smith, claiming retaliation after he alleges that he was fired for reporting sexual harassment.
Brian King Joseph reportedly returned to his Las Vegas hotel room to find HIV meds, discharge papers, and a note hinting at a planned sexual encounter. Reporting it, allegedly fired, accused of lying. Will's team denied everything. Timing? Awful, right when Will was trying to rebuild after the Oscars. Dave hasn't publicly weighed in but said recently, scandals tend to roll in waves. Jim, discussing his spiritual path, added that unresolved issues and inauthentic living breed destructive patterns. The hint? Clear. Career fallout tells the story. Will resigned from the Academy, banned from events for 10 years. Emancipation, Apple's $120 million Oscar follow-up, quietly launched in December 2022, minimal hype, lukewarm reviews, no awards traction. His Q score tanked from 39 to 19 by early 2024, one of the steepest drops ever. Studios paused projects, including Netflix's Fast and Loose, waiting to see what he'd do next. What he did after became the phrase haunting him. Stayed at the ceremony, accepted the Oscar, emotional speech, danced at the Vanity Fair afterparty. Industry insiders read it as entitlement, a refusal to face consequences immediately. By early 2024, he needed a win. Bad Boys, Ride or Die, a world premiere, fourth installment of the iconic franchise since 1995. Bulletproof Goodwill, the franchise that could rescue him. Sony greenlit $100 million, released June 7, 2024. Opened $56 million domestic, $146 million worldwide, below Bad Boys for Life, $62M/$426M, moderate success, driven more by franchise loyalty than excitement for Will. The franchise gave him cover. Martin Lawrence's presence let fans justify support for both stars, not just Will. But Hollywood's real question, can Will lead an original film successfully? That answer is still up in the air. Reports say Will's CAA agents called studio execs weeks before Bad Boys dropped, trying to lock in his next project. The plan? Ride momentum. That never happened. Even with moderate success, no major studio wanted to bet on a Will-led original or prestige film. Silence spoke volumes. Studios were fine letting Sony risk the franchise, but nobody was backing a standalone Will Smith project. So what did Jim Carrey and Dave Chappelle really expose? Bigger than one slap, bigger than one actor. They highlighted a broken system. Hollywood manufactures personas, sells them as reality. When the mask slips, the industry either shields profitable stars or crushes the unprofitable. No middle ground, no real accountability. Only profit. Jim showed the psychological toll of living as an avatar, performing authenticity so long you forget reality. Will's Oscar outburst? Not defending Jada, it was defending the illusion that had overtaken life. Dave exposed Hollywood's selective morality. Refuse the game, get punished. Perform profitably, get protected. That standing ovation? Not support, it was damage control for an investment. Together, Jim and Dave painted a brutal picture. Authenticity punished, performance rewarded, violence excused if profitable, accountability negotiable. Where does this leave Will Smith? Early 2026. Limbo. Not fully canceled, not untouchable. Bad Boys, Ride or Die showed he can still draw audiences in a franchise, but original leading roles? Uncertain. The recent lawsuit complicates everything. True or not, it reopened questions about his character at exactly the wrong time. Jim and Dave's critiques matter because they're authoritative, not rivals chasing clicks. They walked away from Hollywood's machine and know its corruption firsthand. Their voices forced a reckoning. The standing ovation revealed Hollywood's values. Jim, I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation. Hollywood is spineless. Will's career consequences showed limits of protection. Dave explained why. Their alignment is significant. They're not just calling out Will, they're exposing all of us. We bought into the avatar. Fresh Prince, action hero, family man. We consumed the Hollywood-crafted persona, $9 billion box office and all. And when the real, flawed human appeared, we recoiled. Jim and Dave hold a mirror. We reward performance, punish authenticity. We cheer perfection, mock real humanity. The Oscar slap? Not just one man. The industry and audience that enables it was exposed. Conclusion. Jim Carrey and Dave Chappelle never planned a joint expose, but their critiques synced perfectly, showing Hollywood's machinery, the toll of decades-long performance, and selective accountability. Will Smith's story isn't over. His next project could redeem or confirm the damage. Lawsuit could derail or fade. But Jim and Dave's truths? Permanent. The standing ovation? Unforgettable. The Avatar theory? Loud and clear. Hollywood's double standards? Undeniable. Two comedy legends spoke truth to power, and that truth will linger. So what do you think? Did Jim and Dave go too far, or reveal what needed saying? Can Will truly redeem himself, or is his career scarred forever? What does this reveal about Hollywood and our role in creating it? Drop your thoughts below. Stay woke. Stay informed. Remember, in Hollywood, most of what you see is performance. Peace.